There it is.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our special council meeting for the purpose of budget discussions 2021, Wednesday, March 17th at 6:01. I'd like to call the meeting to order with an adoption of the agenda with one additional piece of correspondence with respects to a fire safety grant application that was submitted earlier in the day today. May I please have a motion, please, to get the agenda on the table with that addition?
That's so moved.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. I will take, okay, Deputy Mayor's got his hand up. So I'll take him. Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. I did see that. Any objections? Hearing none? Carried. Thank you. Any disclosure of interest tonight at the table? I'm seeing none noted. Thank you. We'll move on. As I indicated, 4.1, we are in this meeting for the purpose of budget discussions. So moving on to 5.1, we have the CAO report, pages 2 through to 34. And I'm going to ask the CAO to take the meeting at this point in time, just maybe briefly go over her report and maybe we can discuss anything therein. Christine, you have the floor.
Okay, so really nothing, well, there's a couple of new things to report, I guess. I really just followed direction from the last meeting. We reduced the recreation budget to the 25 as council's request, added the 8 health and safety consultant back in. But in the meantime, we have received an extra $9,000 in COVID funding that we'll be receiving in 2021, which I guess helps offset the addition back in. And the 15,000 is a really more or less, it's the request for additional staff to help with the committee, the new committee structure.
Thank you. So that's the report in itself. We will be moving on to the 2021 budget summary. Christine, that would be a different piece of correspondence than your report, correct?
I have.
Or are you considering them all the same?
What's that?
The next piece of your report.
Then
The summary, the 2021 budget summary.
oh yeah, so there's the budget to actuals laid out in detail. I'm not sure you want to go through that all again. Do it, but the proposed budget summary, yes, that shows that really with the ins and outs, there's not much of a change. We're still sitting at the 2% for our portion.
So what does the 2.57 indicate, Christine, please? Can we talk just simply on total to be taxed?
So 2.57 is the percentage increase over last year's amount to be collected from the taxpayers.
Okay.
So that's the actual levy increase. When we factor in the weighted assessment and our growth, we have more assessment to spread that budget increase over. So we could increase by 14,000 with having a zero impact on the average residential household. So if you account for the growth, that brings it to a 1.53% increase. And then bottom line MPAC has said that there's a small, there was no reassessment. There was supposed to be a reassessment this year and there wasn't, but there was still some supplementals or write-offs and adjustments and people appealing, and not too much, but they're saying that the average residential assessment for 2021 will be 158 because there was no reassessment. So it's slightly higher than it was last year. And with that, that brings us to a 2% tax rate increase. So that's directly on the tax rate, is 1.99%.
Thank you.
I don't have the counties yet. I know that the school board one is staying the same. I believe the county I don't know, maybe Dan, you could, I asked Susan, she said it was going to a county council session. Is that this week or was it last week?
Passed yesterday, so it'll be going to the county council meeting of Thursday next week for final ratification.
Okay,
That's where we're at with that.
so I don't, until I have the actual residential rate, I can't give overall impact, as I said in my report.
Right. Okay, so we've got it on the table. May I have a motion, please, to get on the table for discussion? I have it with the deputy. May I have a seconder, please? Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. We've had a bit of narrative. It's now on the table for council's consumption and discussion. Deputy Mayor, you put it on the table. Sir, would you like to have an opportunity to speak first?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity tonight. So we're looking at a place where I think now it's time for council to really take a look line by line and do the heavy lifting to really determine the needs and wants of the community for 2021. I am a firm believer in ensuring that the entire budget is line by line. And I think staff have done a wonderful job getting us to this point. I think what I would like to see for next budget meeting is that line by line read through, so we know exactly what we are signing on for. Any of the capital projects have timelines attached, so we know when they're to be completed. And I think that's going to be a very important piece. I do want to reiterate for council that right now with COVID-19, the economy is weak. People have not had the most successful time the last year. And it is very prudent on us to ensure that our budget is as narrow and slim as it can be, simply to say, unlike income tax, property taxes are not means tested. And we are very well aware of the housing market moving in a very steep direction northward. We have to keep our spending in line. We have probably in the next couple of years some tough decisions to be made about our tax rate. So I think the key thing is a line by line next budget meeting. Then we can move into that point where we're able to approve a budget. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Any comment, Councillor Hudson?
Yeah. I wanted to just ask a question about the line item number 4, where additional $15,000 for office help. Is that kind of an HR thing? Are we opening a new position? I'm looking for more clarification on that one. That was all.
That's the position to support committee structure, but I'll let the CAO comment a little further. Christine?
Yes, it was what was discussed at the last council meeting, and I was to bring forward the costing and a sample description of what that job would entail, which I've provided tonight.
Are you fine with that, Councillor Hudson, or would you like to discuss that a little bit further?
No, that clarifies just understanding what the line item was. So yes.
Thank you very much. Anybody else at the table have any comments at this point?
I prefer to go through the line item tonight if that's the deputy mayor's wishes.
In order to do that, Christine, I would want a clear copy. This is a year to actual. It's not as clear and easy to do that item by item. Some of the things are pretty lumped together. I think we also need to talk about the capital projects.
Okay.
I'm trying to get to the capital projects here. 1 second.
Yeah, which page? Is there a reference page? Sorry.
It's the same report you guys get every
Yep.
other month.
Yeah, we understand that. We're just trying to find the hyperlink, Christine, to get us exactly where we need to get to. So Deputy, for clarity purposes, what would you like to see, sorry, for the budget?
2 meetings ago, we had printouts provided they're in the Excel format that we're usually looking at for budget.
Yes.
This is indeed the same report we see monthly when it looks to variances.
Yes.
But at this point, we need to see the full package. We need to talk about capital, tweak the operations. At this point, I don't see any of the capital projects in the report here. That's the key here. And that's what I need to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I can go through, the capital projects are in there just as they are on the Excel spreadsheet. The only difference is, rather than the actual year-to-date for 2020 and the budget amount for 2020, we have the actuals, which I was hoping council would be pleased with, because you can actually see what's been spent in these categories. It was just a different, but if you prefer the spreadsheet, I apologize. And was hoping to be able to get some more guidance other than just bring it back next week, because I'd like to have, I was hoping to have this on the budget, on the council meeting with tax rates and stuff. So if there's stuff that you want to discuss and things you want to discuss in each department, then I would love it if it happened tonight. But I understand if you're not, I can guide us through.
If I might offer a suggestion, Mayor, to move us forward.
Sure.
I think the next budget meeting, if we can do this in person, I think we can move this faster. Right now, I'm flipping between 4 or 5 electronic documents. It's not easy. It's not effective. I have my notes all over the place across my table here. I think budget is something that is the critical role of council. I would love a clean proof of everything that is on the table that's going into that budget to mark up a couple of days beforehand. And then we can do that perhaps in socially distanced, but in person.
Fair enough. Does council have any issues with attending an in-person, physically distanced finalization of a budget meeting to finish off the 2021 budget process? If you do and you can't make it, that's fine. We will make accommodations that would suit you and make you feel as comfortable as possible so you can participate. Those who would like to participate in an in-person meeting, we can look at a venue that can do that as well in a comfortable way. Does anybody have any comments they want to make with respect to the budgets that's in front of them now, or any of the documentation pertaining to 5.1, pages 2 through to 34? Is there anything specifically that council wants to pull out and talk about right now? I know the CAO had indicated she wants to see some sort of discussion, or she'd like to see some sort of discussion from tonight. Is there anything specifically that's on anybody's mind? Councillor Hudson.
Mayor, is this, as I've expressed to you in previous council meetings, is this where we talk about line items such as crossing guards or different items within the agenda like that, or is it inappropriate at this time?
No, this is a budget time, and if you have a few line items, like the deputy mayor has asked for a little bit more documentation, a little bit more clarification, so a little clarity to the document, so he can comment at the next meeting. But if you feel comfortable, if any council member feels comfortable bringing something to the table tonight that we can carry over into the next meeting, I'm fine with that too, Councillor Hudson. Or you can save your comments till the next meeting. It's up to you.
Well, if you're open for it now, Mayor, I mentioned it in the last budget meetings and just now, and just talking about, I know it's kind of a simple item, but something that I think is near and dear to our community's heart, that we do have a crossing guard program. And I just would like to explore that line item in conversation if everyone is up for it.
Let's have a discussion. I think the CAO is fishing for that information right now to throw on the screen for everyone's consumption. So with that being said, Councillor Hudson, you have the floor.
Okay, just making sure I'm on the same page as well.
Sure.
And it's not necessarily to me about how much it costs, but just making sure that we're utilizing this service that we provide to the community to the best of our abilities. I think that it's something that's very unique to our small community, and it's something that's very valued. And I think that for the most part, everybody is very seen on our community streets, but it is something that costs us a lot of money. So I just wanted to just throw it out there, talk about it, and make sure that we're utilizing it to the best that we can.
Thank you. Currently, there is a line item budgeted as in 2021 on page 4. So if everyone's there, they can see what Councillor Hudson's discussing. So where would you like to take the conversation, Councillor Hudson? Just discussing, make sure that we have the right amount of guards, make sure that we have them in the right areas, that we're getting the most value of where we've got them placed. Is that what you're thinking?
Absolutely. And I think they're for the most part appropriately placed. But just as a community member myself, I think all of the guards are important. I just, like you said, making sure they're appropriately placed. And I think that's just a small look into, because I think they're very appropriate. It's a small town community. Everybody knows the crossing guards. I think it's a great thing to have someone you recognize in the morning, welcoming you. And we're a walking community. We don't have any school buses, right? So it's not something I think that we should fully get rid of as a line item, but it's something that I think we can benefit from in our community. And if it's as simple as having a conversation at the school, making sure the kids are crossing in the right places, and utilizing the crossing guards because they're there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think it's important because they are there, and it's something that we provide as a service as a community. So maybe just even that educational informant piece between the town and the school, making sure that the kids understand that that's the safest place to cross, and that kind of, I think I'm getting my point across, that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any comments with respects to crossing guards that they want to bring up at this meeting? Deputy?
Thank you, Mayor. I think one thing we need to do is we need to have a conversation with the school. We need to look at the school schedule. The crossing guard program was developed when Desmoronto had an hour and 15-minute lunch break. That has been abandoned some time ago for a more balanced day. I don't know if municipal staff have outreached to the school to look at the school day, but the trends have changed. People are spending lunch hours at school, not necessarily coming home. So having a full flight of crossing guards at the noon hour is maybe not necessarily the best thing to have at this point anymore. What I would probably recommend before we dig in deeper on this next council meeting for the budget would be to have our crossing guards do a tally the number of students they cross at each of their locations. Maybe next week, have town staff outreach, just so we have an idea of how many students are using the services right now, the AM shift, the first lunch shift, the second lunch shift, and then the PM shift. How many students are actually indeed crossing at each place. The more data we have, the better decision-making we can make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do believe in data-driven decision-making, as this council's tried to do in most situations that we've come across. We did take some data before in previous, I think previous discussions of this exact same topic. We did have some data, so I believe it's something that we can collect again for the next meeting. Councillor Hudson, is that something that that follows where you'd like to take this conversation? We have to get the data, bring it back to council, and then we'll have a discussion about whether or not we have them in the right spots at the right times.
Absolutely. I think Deputy Mayor hit it right on the head in the direction that I was going to, and exactly what I was looking for in that line item. I know it's a small service that we provide to the town, but I think it's super important, and that was everything. So that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Any other comments with respects to this before we move on? Hearing none. Motion to receive the report. I've got it from the deputy, seconded by Counselor Hudson. Did you throw
Can
your
I
hand up?
second that? I can
Yeah.
second it. Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're receiving the document. We have a first with the deputy. We have a seconder with Counselor Hudson. Any objection? Any further comments required at this point in time? Hearing none, carried. I would ask that if anybody has any specific questions for our next budget meeting and if you know in advance and you have some fact finding you want to do, please reach out to the CAO and ask her anything in advance. So our next meeting is as fruitful as possible. Christine, I guess what we'd be looking for at the next meeting is we're going to be looking for a final discussion with respects to 2021 capital spending allocation and how we're going to allocate those dollars. In addition, we're looking for a different format for the budget that we can have for the next council meeting. I expect our next council meeting will provide a finalized budget for the CAO to be able to come back to council with. So, because we are moving in a little further, actually, this is the 17th. We have one more meeting, which is the 29th so we might be able to do this in March.
No.
Why-
Our
why
next meeting's next week on the 24th.
Sorry, Christine, my apologies. What I meant is we could probably get a workable document completed in March for ratification, first council meeting of April.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to 5.2, Federation of Canadian Municipalities Grant. Pages 35 through to 73. Can I get a motion, please, to get on the table? Got it from the deputy. Seconded by Councillor Hudson. Okay, it's on the table. There is a recommendation from the CAO there as well. The council received the report and direct staff to apply for a grant opportunity for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities for the Municipal Asset Management Program. Deputy Mayor, did you want to comment, or would you like me to have the CEO just give us a quick overview? of what's
Let's
going on?
let the CEO have an overview, please, sir. Thank you.
Christine, would you please?
Okay, so this is different than, what I was talking about with obviously the service delivery review. And I was hoping to take on a little bit of the levels of service work that needs to be done on the asset management plan in that. But when PSD contacted me and said, hey, FCM is doing, is still taking applications for this grant, it's 90% funding because we're a small municipality. I dismissed it initially, and then I thought, you know what, there's a lot of work to be done over the next few years, and why not take advantage of this if we can and get a little bit more of it, be ahead of the game. I did receive correspondence from the Municipal Finance Officers Association today that the province has agreed to extend the deadline a year, and they've made some changes to the OREG that impacts OREG 58817, and they've extended the deadlines for a year. So we have some time, but I feel like if we can get this funding, we're ahead of the game. So that's why I proposed it.
Thank you. Deputy?
I support the recommended motion wholeheartedly. I think this is proving to be a very good year for coming up with some solutions to longstanding informational problems we've had. This will move our asset management plan in the right direction. I'm very excited to see this and a possibility of having a service delivery review. This is incredibly good information, and I am very impressed that these opportunities are landing on us, and I think we should support it wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Christine, is that 6,500 already in our budget?
It would come from the modernization funding, so it would be a zero impact unless you want to put it in the budget.
Oh, it's just the thing of it is your recommendation is that we commit it from our budget?
Use the 6,500, the use of the modernization reserve money would be appropriate.
Okay, because it says, be it further resolved that the town of Deseret commits 6,500 from its budget.
Yes.
Cost of
Yes.
this.
That's the actual resolution required for FCM application. either way, it's a commitment from our budget, whether it comes from our reserves or our taxation revenue.
It's coming from, correct?
Pardon me?
It's coming from modernization funding with zero 2021 budget impact.
Correct.
Thank you. So everyone understands, this is coming from a modernization funding that we already have, that it will have 2021. We have a motion to get on the table. We've had some discussion. Any further discussion before I ask to receive the report with the recommendation therein? And I put a motion to receive the report with the recommendations. We got it from the deputy.
Counselor Smith.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. Any further discussion required from anybody or clarification required? I'm hearing none. Piece of correspondence carried. 2021 is really shaping up to be a very busy year for the town of Desmoronto as far as the corporation goes and the long-term benefits of the community. So I'm very excited to see where we're heading with the 2021 budget. I think we have a lot of highlights that are from an operational and an administrative end that's going to pay dividends years to come. So thank you very much, Council, for putting a focus there in 2021 and staff.
Dan,
Yeah,
just to be clear, the motion needs to be what I have here for the FCM funding. I just want to make sure the mover and the seconder have agreed to this specific wording in this motion.
yes. So the wording that's in your report is the wording that we take. I just got a thumbs up from the person who made the motion. Do I get a thumbs up from the person who seconded it? Hey, Councillor Smith, any issues with the verbiage being used?
No.
Thank you very much. Christine, do you want me to formally get anyone to say the words?
No, that's okay. I
Okay.
just have clarity. Yeah.
Yeah, just making sure that we're all on the same page moving forward. Thank you very much. With that being said, I know we didn't get exactly what everybody was hoping for at this meeting, but I do think that we have inched a little closer to the finish line. Budgets are never fun. They're long, they're tedious. When you're spending somebody else's money, you have to be very, very careful. And I think that we've done that. I think we're putting our money where it needs to go. And I think that we all can stand by this budget when it's done. And I think the community is going to appreciate some of the initiatives that we're going to be bringing out with the 2021 budget. So thank you very much, council and staff, for your patience towards getting to the finish line. I do appreciate it. With that being said, I'm going to ask Councillor Hudson, please, to read the confirming bylaw for the proceedings of
Dan?
council. Yeah. Oh, sorry. My apologies. I have 5.3, which is the granting application from the fire department for the fire safety grant application for the office of the fire marshal. May I have a motion, please, to get on the table for discussion? Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. May I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. It is on the table. So everybody knows what's going on. We did receive this correspondence a little earlier on the day. I'm hoping everyone had a chance to have a look at it. We do have, let me just take a look, make sure I'm not speaking out of turn. I believe we do have the fire chief on the call. And we do have the CAO. If anybody wants to just give council a little brief explanation of what's going on here, because for the most part, like I said, we just received it today. Councillor, would you like to speak first?
I just wanted to say, I'm not sure, just to open the conversation as well, together and not really, but it was nice to see our fire department also with the other fire departments in the area doing their ice rescue last night.
Very nice.
And our Girl Guides were able to be a witness of that. So that was a really cool piece of the community.
So it would have been very exciting for them to see the team in action.
So thank you to an opening to the fire chief. I'm pretty sure he was there. So it was great to see that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Christine, do you want to comment quickly on or briefly on what's going on here?
This just came out of the blue last week.
Yeah.
You know, we got a 7-day turnaround. When I received it, I immediately sent it to the fire chief. Just, hey, have you got anything we can put in here? This is what he's come up with his team. They've vetted it. They've decided that this, you know, this would be a great idea to enhance their training. And I just want to make sure that council's on board before I send this application in.
So this is to restore the garage that we have off to the west side of the building. I assume the purpose would be to house training materials?
To actually use it for training.
Oh, to be like a training hall.
Yes. Of sorts.
Thank you. Anyone from council have any comments or questions? Oh, Councillor Hudson and then Deputy Mayor.
So, reading the report, it sounds great, and it's positive in one sense, because I would love to see all these updates happen. So I'm hoping that within the next couple days, which is the negative, that the report needs to be done in a few days. So I know this is kind of going to be an interesting conversation, but supportive in all the ways that I've seen the report come together, hoping that some of the line items as well. I was just thinking to myself that some of the line items in request before there could be more maybe incorporated, but I'm not really sure of the grant process, and maybe we don't have enough time to fully understand. So I'd like to see, obviously, us take advantage of any extra grant money that's coming. So supportive that way.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor, do you have a comment, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I think it's a great application, but I have one concern. Looking at the letter from the fire marshal's office, the fourth paragraph stipulates the focus of this grant, and it clearly says, first, this grant may be put towards ongoing training needs, including registration, administrative programming, technological upgrades, and associated costs for attending, as well as for providing services. In addition, if code and compliance and inspections continue to be challenging, addressing opportunities for an inspection program may be including technology, capital costs, and training to ensure that fire services are able to meet the demand at a local level. My concern is this is a capital project that isn't directly mentioned in the grant. I can see the steps here, why it would be considered something that we'd want to try for, but through you to staff, could someone please clarify how this directly hits on what the fire marshal's office wants this grant to be spent on?
Thank you very much, sir. So anyone from staff is welcome to try to answer that question.
I can try and add some information to that.
Thank you.
In regards to the requirement, another meeting that I attended with the fire chiefs, it was asked directly with the OFM outside of this letter if the money can be used for facilitating a training building with other fire halls within the province that attended that meeting. And the answer was yes, as long as the letter outlined what the purpose was, it was okay to make the proposal, send it in, and they will assess it and make a decision, yes or no.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daryl. Any further questions, Deputy?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
I've got one question regarding the funding. In the report, it indicates that $5,000 will not be enough to cover the expenses and that the additional money will be pulled from the budget. Is that in the budget? And where would we pull it from in the event that we get this grant?
Christine, if you don't mind, I'll try and answer that as to where my train of thought is with that.
Thank you.
Talking with all the guys and talking with, and all, it's a small town, so to say names, the contractors that are firefighters have contacts. And with that being said, a lot of the stuff we're going to be able to get at a reduced price. We intend on using as much used material as we can. And the labor is all going to be brought forth from volunteering. That will not be paid for through the fire department, just to clarify. This is a commitment that the guys are making on maybe 3 weekends between now and the 1st of August to have this done. And I believe we can get this done under the 5,000. However, it is clear if we are running really close to the 5,000, and if I go, if I go $500 over, I'm just throwing a number out, don't quote me on that. We have to be, I have to be mindful of the budget, and the budget is there for me to use on other projects other than this garage. But it's just a buffer. And if I can't finish it this year, then I'll have to do a capital budget for next year.
Thank you, Chief. I guess my only question was that is I do know that the building itself needs a roof, and I do know that we are looking at putting some sort of funding towards that. I just want to make sure that our infrastructure is getting their needs filled in the budget year that we budget for them. That was pretty much my question, my reason, just making sure that each improvement is funded properly within the budget. So other improvements that we expect to get done in 2021 do get done in 2021. So thank you very much, Daryl. I do appreciate that. You have a lot of talented firefighters on the crew that would be, like you said, their resources would be invaluable to completing a project like this. So thank you very much for the clarity.
If I could just clarify one more thing as well. It is clear that this grant has nothing to do with the budget with the town. And whatever we do on this refurb for the building, will be our utmost importance not to touch the budget to do that. That's the priority. We're work with the $5,000 that we get, and we end up with what we get.
Well, I
Thank you.
appreciate that, Daryl. I'm just commenting based on the cost of repair will exceed 5,000. However, the volunteer work from the department members and added funds from the budget, we can achieve this goal by August 1st, 2021. So I didn't recall seeing anything for the improvement. So I just wanted to make sure that we are budgeting effectively. That's all.
I understand, Mayor. It was more to put you at peace of mind, or council as well, that the intent is not to touch the budget for this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Very much appreciated. So council's wishes. We've had a little bit of discussion. Anybody else from council like to have any discussions with the chief? Okay, so, oh, sorry, Councilor Hudson, go ahead.
It wasn't a discussion, just a comment. And I just listening to Daryl speaking, I appreciate the commitment that everyone in our fire department has to take on this project, go for grant funding, and take such ownership of our community fire department. And I just think that that's such representative of the town of Toronto, and I just needed to mention the appreciation there.
Thank you very much. I'm sure it's very much appreciated. So with that being said, we've all had a bit of conversation. We've had some clarity provided by the chief. We've had a chance to look over the document. What are council wishes? Shall
Your
we?
Honor, I would support our chief and make a motion that we accept and apply for this grant.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. May I have a seconder, please, for Councillor Clark's motion? I have it in the deputy. He threw his hand up. Any further discussion required or clarity needed? We've been pretty successful in the past with getting some grants, so here's hoping that we get it. So with that being said, thank you very much all, and it's carried. So staff has been empowered to move forward with the granting application. Thank you very much. Anyone else have any comments before I call for a proceeding or the confirming bylaw to be read by Councillor Hudson? Okay, I'm hearing none. Moving on to 6.1, page 74, which is 28-21, or sorry, yeah, 28-21, confirming bylaw for 17/3/21 council meeting. Councillor Hudson, you're up.
I hereby read bylaw number 2821, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of special council meeting held on the 17th day of March 2021. Read the first, second, and third time.
Thank you very much. May I have a second? Well, I have a seconder with the deputy. Any objection? Hearing none? Carried and well done.
You put me on the spot, Mayor.
Well, you told us you wanted to do it. So
I did.
And I remembered. Okay, so just wrapping everything up. Next council meeting for budget is the 29th, which is a Wednesday, which is the last Wednesday of this month. If you have any questions or any clarification required regarding the budget, capital, otherwise, please feel free to reach out to the CAO. Did someone say my name?
The meeting would be on March 31st.
Oh, is it 31st? What's the 29th? Oh, my apologies. 31. Okay, March 31, last day of the month. Okay, so like I said, if you have any questions or any comments you want to make or clarification, please reach out to CAO ahead of time. As far as getting that documentation, I'm sure it'll be sent out prior with the meeting invite. So we'll have that as well. Anything else from council before we sign off and I ask for adjournment? Hearing nothing? May I have a motion to adjourn, please? I've got it from the deputy. Anybody else want a second? Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Any objection? Hearing none? Okay, well, thanks to everyone. Thanks, Daryl, for making the meeting and providing clarification. That was awesome. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Gail, Maura, Christine. Everyone have yourself a great night.
Thanks,
You-
everyone.